All right. Ready? All right. Hi again, everybody. It's the Off to the Races podcast. As we're a week out now from the West Virginia Derby, so we have to recap it. We had the preview, and Mark Patterson joining us from Mountaineer, a race analyst. And Mark, was it as much fun for you as it was for everybody else? I mean, I remember talking to you before the race. You were super, super excited. You wanted, as they say, talk Derby with anybody that would talk Derby with you. And then the race itself, did it live up to the billing? Did you enjoy it as much? It looked like, I mean, Dragoon Guard, the horse that we thought would be out in front, was. And you said it was a beautiful horse, striking gray, and just watch it. I mean, it really that horse stands out.
Yeah, I think the whole occasion is going to stick out, Bill. I've seen a whole lot of West Virginia Derby and Derby cards. This one was particularly gratifying behind the scenes, and I can't recall a West Virginia Derby that sent more people home happy. The formful racing all day, man. No life-changing scores from a gambling standpoint. But, casual bettors, the sort that turn out for our big day, maybe the once-a-year kind of players, they want to see the ball go through the hoop. Seriously, They don't care about big long shots or making a whole lot of money, but they want their money to churn. They want to win. They want to get in line and cash tickets. So from that standpoint, it was a successful day. And also, man, they want to get in on the ground floor of greatness. That's what people want, the casual fan. And the big horse, the hyped horse, our marquee horse, Dragoon Guard, did his thing, baby. He did not disappoint. And I think all in all sent a lot of people home happy.
Well, yeah, my mom is one of those people that loves to go to the races, loves to go to the casino. And if she can walk out with maybe 20, 40 bucks, she's ahead. It's all smiles. It was a great day. Loved it. The atmosphere and everything.
The weather was great too. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it was perfect. So tell me about, we talked about the turf races at the start. You said you reimagined what the Derby was going to be for everybody. Tell me how that reimagining worked with the turf races. And then you had the Governor's Cup, and you had some other, the sprints almost, so to speak. And then the big one. Did the reimagining of the Derby and how you presented at Mountaineer, did it come off without a glitch?
Well, Bill, this is not our first rodeo doing your Off to the Races podcast. So I'll get down to brass tacks and speak frankly with your viewers. When I say reimagine, what I mean is, let me use an analogy. Since some of the stakes races that we jettisoned were now allowance races on our West Virginia Derby card, the reason we did it was to discourage competition from other racetracks, not just in this region, but from across the nation. And sometimes if you dress up too sexy, so to speak, then people are going to come for what you have. So we dressed it down just a little bit and kind of camouflaged some of our undercard in the guise of allowance races. But for my money, they came up stakes caliber. We got full fields, and we got a lot of very good horses that go on to do bigger and better things. Right from the jump. In fact, the longest price winner on the card was 4-1 in the opener, and that is hardly some shocking upset. But after that, man, it was expected winner after expected winner after expected winner. And while that can get a little boring, if you're talking about the aficionados, the people that bet horses day and night around the clock, it's what the public wants to see, man, when they're coming out once a year.
Yep, I want to see it. You want to see the big horse? It's all hyped up. You want to see it. So let's talk about Dragoon Guard. As you see him come through the Derby, as you saw him perform the way everyone expected him to, is this a horse that we can see things maybe, as he moves down the road in his career? You mentioned, obviously you win the West Virginia Derby. He's now won 4 straight for his breeding rights and, all the, trying to make, baby horses better than he is. Is he on the right path? Is this a horse that we're going to say, hey, a Breeders' Cup comes on and maybe we see him down the road?
Brad Cox is on the record. I tried to call him, but he's a busy guy. I couldn't get a hold of him this morning. But he has been quoted that the next step with Dragoon Guard is not set in stone yet. He's going to talk to the owners, Juddmonte Farm, and see what they're going to do moving forward. The thing about thoroughbred horse racing is this, Bill. While a Dragoon Guard came through for us on our big day and joins our Hall of Honor, so to speak, with horses like maybe a Western Pride, a Cupid, maybe a Skippy Longstockings, horse racing has a way of presenting tougher and tougher tests. As a horse streaks, as a horse wins, competition obviously gets stiffer. So moving forward, it's going to be interesting to follow Dragoon Guard and see where he goes from here. He's not going to be in the Travers because I think the time frame is a little too close there. Maybe 3 weeks
Okay.
back. And Cox has never run this horse back in less than 4 weeks. I suspect his long-range goal might be the PA Derby, which is a richer test than our race. It's $1 million. It would be about a month and a half or so, maybe 7 weeks or something like that for Dragoon Guard, and could conceivably be used as a stepping stone onto the Breeders' Cup Day. I'm kind of holding my breath that Cox thinks this horse is good enough. And Brad Cox does not have a height machine as part of the way he rolls. Doesn't do that. He's an old school Kentucky horseman that stays very down to earth on his stock. So it's tough to read between the lines from the way he talks about just how optimistic he is about a Dragoon Guard. I suspect while a horse who is streaking the way Dragoon Guard is certainly stirs the imagination, plus his sexy gray color and the sexy way he blows right to the top and takes no prisoners. I suspect, though, that the aficionados, the experts, maybe won't be quite as high on this horse or his West Virginia Derby performance as some of the casual players might. And I'll explain why. What he really did there, I'll use another sports analogy. He was kind of like a Stephon Diggs, a wide receiver, who took the foes, a Henro, a society man, right out of their games because they don't want to go up and press the pace and attempt to stay close early. They want to lay back, play the waiting game, and see somebody else go up and do the dirty work, kind of with the old let's you and him fight on the schoolyard thing. The race did not play out like that. And they were like linebackers in football, forced to drop back into deep coverage against a fleet wideout, okay? And they were uncomfortable right off of Dragoon Guard's heels. So this thing went completely his way, Dragoon Guard. He didn't break anybody's stopwatch either in terms of final time. As he checked in, more than 3 seconds slower than Soto's track record. Now, track speed comes into play. It's a fool's errand to just straight up compare raw final times, even at the same distance in thoroughbred horse racing, because the track speed comes into play, as do a lot of other factors. But I think it's worth noting that he was way slower than the track record. And the track was pretty glib, as they say. They were running fast out there on West Virginia Derby. So this horse has some questions yet to answer. But that's the beautiful part of racing, Bill. Unlike a lot of other sports, though, like perhaps playoff football, playoff baseball, or something like that, where the sport itself, the way it's structured, determines what your next test is. His connections, the connections of a Dragoon Guard, will decide for themselves just how ambitious they want to be and how much they want to bite off for this horse's next engagement. But since he really was the only front runner in the race, and since the pace unfolded at a pretty unenthusiastic tempo, and he was under a drive to win, Bill. He didn't draw off and run off into the sunset or anything like that. Isn't it that way in sports all the time, though? When one question gets answered, it just gives rise to more questions and more questions and more questions. But certainly, he's a horse that stirs the imagination, Bill.
Absolutely. Dragoon Guard's time 149.96.
Yes.
Basically wire to wire. And like you said, I watched the replay again this morning to prepare to talk to you, and he just seemed too strong. No matter the society man,
he was never going to lose.
They just didn't have enough to
he was never going to lose.
Too strong.
He was never going to lose, Bill, and might have had a lot more in the tank than maybe it indicated visually. Dragoon Guard. What a day for Brad Cox, by the way. He is the first trainer to win both big ones on the same card, man. Hit Show comes through. To win the Governors, that's $200,000. And then the big one, the Derby, $500,000. He wins that one. And if you break that down for some of your fans that may not know how the economics work behind the scenes in horse racing, he gets 10% of the winner's share, does Brad Cox. Okay. So if you're talking $700,000 in total purses, that's about $420,000 in winner's money to Hit Show, his Governor's winner, and Dragoon Guard, who wins the West Virginia Derby. So his share of that, his booty, is a little bit more than $40,000, which ain't bad in about a 55-minute time frame, huh?
That'll work. I like that ratio. It'd be nice to have every weekend or so. Now, the one question I have for you, mentioned how his style as a trainer.
Yes.
And there are going to be some people out there that I'm sure are going to, clamoring a little bit to see Dragoon Guard again. But it seems like, as you're saying, it doesn't seem like he's going to over-race him. He's going to take his time, where another trainer might be, I can grab some more money here. Do you like that style of a trainer that's going to take that time, make sure I've got a prized possession here? We don't know how good yet he may become, but we've got an opportunity to handle him the right way, to give him the best opportunity to be ready and healthy for his next race.
Dragoon Guard may not be the best Brad Cox horse ever. That remains to be seen, but he is the quintessential Brad Cox horse because he's been brought along slowly without any hype, and the distances have been gradually increased. The quality of the competition put before him has been gradually stepped up and escalated. Now, when it comes to the next test and just how ambitious an agenda they're going to set out there for Dragoon Guard, this can sometimes behind the scenes be a tug of war between the owners and the trainer. Brad Cox, old school, down to earth, Kentucky hard boot horseman. But the owners, a lot of times, man, they want to get on television and they want to get ambitious. They want to take down big prizes and looking at year-end honors, Eclipse Awards and stuff like that. So behind the scenes, I would love to be a fly on the wall when they have a chalk talk, so to speak, and want to discuss just what kind of an itinerary they're going to set forth for Dragoon Guard moving forward. Cox's next test that he puts in front of his big horse, I think it's going to tell us a lot about what they think about Dragoon Guard for real behind the scenes.
Well, I know everybody at Mountaineers are always working to make the racing experience better for the fans when they come out, for the fans that are going to check out Mountaineer racing off of the satellite when they're going to make some wagers. So as you move forward away from the West Virginia Derby of 2024, what does the rest of the summer look like in terms of where Mountaineer takes its racing program, what fans should be looking forward to as the summer, I hate to say it, as the summer starts to draw to a close, we get into the fall. Where does Mountaineer's racing program go from here, and how excited are you about it?
You know, Bill, my house really, and this surprises a lot of fans, is not a shrine at thoroughbred racing. But I think this West Virginia Derby poster might be the only poster that I keep and hang at a place of prominence in my domicile, because I have a soft spot for this Derby and what Dragoon Guard went out there and did. And while he will be forever indelibly etched as one of the boys of summer when it comes to Mountaineer and the West Virginia Derby, I think it's important that fans realize we are a racetrack for all seasons, Mountaineer, and we don't wrap our season up until December 12th or December 13th or something like that.
20 racing left.
Yeah, we keep the good race cards coming right at you, man. And we handle about $1 million a night, so we are popular. A lot of players think it's been very clever on our part, on the part of management, to run nights instead of afternoons, and to kind of travel the road a little less traveled, so to speak, Mountaineer. And we do bring good race cards at you. Turf racing will continue for about another month and a half. When we get past the turf racing, it's standard dirt stuff, but we still distribute good purse money, like $100,000 a day, a little bit more than that. And again, don't wrap our racing season up until December. And we try to keep the variety coming, just like we did on the West Virginia Derby card. I told you about the 440s, the quick dashes, which were really popular, the quarter-mile events, and just added spice, like the funnel cakes. I think that's the analogy I use. You go with the steak and potatoes of the West Virginia Derby and the Governors. And that is our philosophy, day in, day out at Mountaineers. So whereas Christmas is over, we're kind of 365-day-a-year racetrack, so to speak. And things keep rolling on. The circus may take it down the tents in left town, but we keep right on rolling on, and hopefully keep the good times coming for our patrons.
I would imagine thoughts have already turned to not only the rest of the season, but already turned to what are we going to do next year for the West Virginia Derby.
It's like counting down the days to next Christmas, Bill. It really is.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure.
And behind the scenes, the crew will go to work pretty soon on that.
Well, I can't thank you enough for breaking down the Derby pre and post, and there's a big race coming up this weekend that is going to be on Fox 9. So I want to mention that before we get running here. We have the Fourstardave Handicap up at Saratoga, Grade 1, $500,000 race, inner turf course at Saratoga. The winner of the 1 mile event receives an automatic berth to the $2 million FanDuel Breeders' Cup Mile on November 2nd at Del Mar. And this is the 40th edition of the Four-Star Dave Handicap. Post time set for 5:43. And right now it looks like the big chance to win it, Automan, seems to be the big the one everybody's looking at. I just love the fact that there's a horse named Carl Spackler. From Caddyshack. So you can't beat that. I don't know how you bet against Carl Spackler, because eventually he's going to get that job done.
Hey, Bill, how did Derby Day treat your own finances, man? Did you score? Did you knock down anything?
Say that again.
How'd you do wagering on Derby Day?
I didn't lose any. Let's put that. It was a break-even day for Mr. Bill. So for me, if I can break even, I can walk away and not feel the pinch. So I was okay with that. I always wanted, you always want, like my mom. Anytime I take her any place, she's walking away with money. I don't know how she does it. Me, however, I'm breaking even. So I think I got to start getting tips from my mom.
Well, Derby Day didn't turn out to be a great occasion to get rich, but it was just great weather, great to take in all this sightseeing.
Oh, it was fantastic.
And to maybe get in on the ground floor of greatness with a Dragoon Guard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the great thing is too, for people that maybe you went to the race this past weekend and you maybe put a couple of pennies down on a couple of races and you had a little success. It's also a learning experience every time you go. I can put down a $2 bet. Okay, I can bet to win. Oh, wait a minute, I can bet for second and third. Some people don't realize that, and when they have to be exposed to it, and then I can wait a minute. What's this trifecta thing I have here? And this I can bet 2, and I can make how much if I hit? So I think for a lot of the people watching the podcast, perhaps this might have been a learning experience, or if they go out to Mountaineer over the course of until the middle of December. It's an opportunity to learn every time you go to the racetrack, to learn how to make a better bet, how to make a wiser bet, and how to bet where it can benefit you more.
Well, for serious horse players, Bill, at this point it becomes almost drudgery. They're going to do the Monday morning quarterback thing and break down Dragoon Guard's performance in esoteric on and on and on and on, because inevitably they're going to find out just how good he is. The question for serious bettors becomes not just that they know he's a good horse like the casual fan knows, but just how good is he? And we're going to find out sometime down the road, maybe sooner, maybe later. But as far as the once a year patrons that just show up for the Derby, for the big day, Dragoon Guard came through, and it was really gratifying. And he's going to be, again, indelibly etched into their memories, indelibly.
Well, the one thing I know about my man Mark Patterson, he is the man when it comes to racing at Mountaineer. Not just Mountaineer, anywhere, anytime, any place you have a question for him, he's going to give you the answer. He's going to give you the advice on what you're looking at, what you should be doing, and how you want to break it down. So, Mark, I can't thank you enough for the pre-race, for the West Virginia Derby at Mountaineer, and also getting ready for the fall season as well. And I'm sure we'll be checking in with you again and checking in. Hey, what do we have shaking in Mountaineer this weekend? Because and again, I think people, if they went to the Derby, I would imagine you're going to be coming back.
I'm glad a good time was had by all, Bill, because the casual fans, they're not looking to knock down $50,000 by putting up a deuce. They want to see the ball go through the hoop. They're not trying to sink a half-court shot. They want to cash tickets. They want to churn money. And it was a very formful day of racing with the great weather and with the big horses coming through. It couldn't have turned out any better, in my opinion, man.
Had that big orange ball in the sky, as you mentioned, was going to drop down. You're going to see the big gray running down the track. You had it right, my man. You had the whole thing right. You were right on it.
Well, the bar wasn't real high, my man. Dragoon Guard did the work and wasn't too tough to find as a winner of this West Virginia Derby, Bill.
Yeah, well, just take the credit. Just take the credit. All right? Come on.
Thank you, my man.
I'm trying to give you some props. Just take the credit.
Thanks, Bill.
All right, Mark. Thank you very much. Greatly appreciate it. We'll talk soon. Hey, everybody, it is off to the races. And when we're breaking down races, you need to join us because we're having a lot of fun with it, doing some learning as we move along. Can't thank you enough for joining us. We'll see you again next time.